What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Stats with Evan, and I'm here to preview this weekend's three-game series between my Washington Nationals and the Miami Marlins. Let's get it poppin'. So coming into this weekend, the Nationals are 74-58, the Marlins are 48-85. Washington is second in the NL East, Miami is fifth. There is a 26.5 game difference between the two. The Nats currently have the first wildcard spot in the National League. The Fish do not have a playoff spot. The Nationals are 31-24 in division play. The Marlins are 20-43. In their last series, the Nationals split a two-game series against the Orioles. The Marlins lost 3 out of 4 against the Reds. So here's what you need to know about the two teams going into this weekend. This is the fifth of 6 head-to-head series between the Nationals and the Marlins. Washington leads the season series 10 games to 3, and the Nats are outscoring the Fish in the series by a count of 70-47. The Nationals are 17-7 in August. The Marlins are 7-20. This matters because this is the last series in August for both these teams, and this series will carry over into September. Now, another thing to note is that the Nationals have already clinched the season series against the Marlins. You need 10 wins against the division opponent to clinch the season series, and the Nats are at exactly 10 against the Marlins. And now let's talk starters. On Friday, the Marlins are sending out Elieser Hernandez. Hernandez is 3-5 with a .497 ERA. In his last start, he went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, walked nobody, struck out 5, and he got the win as the Marlins beat the Phillies 3-2. The Nationals are countering with Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez is 8-5 with a .381 ERA. In his last start, he went 8 1/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 run, walked 2, struck out 6, and he got the dub as the Nationals beat the Cubs 9-3 in Chicago. On Saturday, the Marlins are sending out Pablo Lopez. Lopez is 5-6 with a .441 ERA. In his last start, he went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, walked 1, struck out 3, but he got the loss as the Marlins lost to the Reds 6-3. The Nationals are countering with Joe Ross. Ross is 3-3 with a .536 ERA. In his last start, he went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, walked 4, struck out 3, and he got a no decision as the Nationals beat the Cubs 7-2 in Chicago. In the series finale on Sunday, which will open up the September slate for both teams, the Marlins are sending out Caleb Smith. Smith is 8-8 with a .405 ERA. In his last start, he went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, walked 3, struck out 5, and he got the loss as the Marlins lost to the Reds 8-5. The Nationals are countering with Steven Strasburg. Strasburg is 15-5 with a .363 ERA. In his last start, he went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, walked 1, struck out 10, but he got a no decision as the Nationals beat the Cubs 7-5 in Chicago in 11 innings. So here's how the Nationals can win this series. The Washington Nationals continue a homestand that got off to a less than desirable start as they split a series against the Orioles this week. Now they face a divisional foe in the Miami Marlins that they have beaten 10 times already, giving Washington the win in the season series. Regardless, the Marlins do have a series win over the Nationals under their belt from back in April, so Washington cannot take Miami lightly. Add on to this, the Marlins played an extra inning game last night against the Reds and then had to travel after that, and Washington can win this series by taking advantage of a weary Miami ball club and using their bats to knock the Marlins around the park. So that was how the Nationals can win this series, but now let's look at how the Marlins can win it. For the Miami Marlins, there isn't much positive to talk about. Miami is at the bottom of the NL East and at the bottom of the National League in general, as everyone else seems to have run off on them. In terms of this series in particular, it doesn't help matters much that they face a Washington Nationals club that has beaten them 10 of the last 11, including sweeping them in 2 straight series. And for the cherry on top, the Marlins didn't get into DC until early Friday morning, so this ball club is fatigued to say the least. However, there is one thing to note. The Nationals play the Mets after this series, so they may not be mentally tuned in this weekend. Miami can win this series by catching Washington napping to steal a couple games this weekend. And now here's my thoughts. There are opportunities abound for the Nationals. A 3-game lead in the wildcard standings and a chance to build on it against a defeated opponent in the Marlins. True, the homestand didn't get off to the best start, but this weekend is a chance to right the ship before the Mets come to town. Additionally, a win on Friday and or Saturday would put the Nationals on pace for 90 wins, a feat that would have been thought of as impossible earlier this season. As far as how these two stack up all together, all categories seem to point to Washington, so I'll say the Nats sweep this series. So what y'all think? Who's taking this series? Is it the Nationals or the Marlins? Let me know in the comments. And before I get out of here, I know there's a hurricane coming up to Florida, Hurricane Dorian. So my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone that's watching this that might be in the path of that hurricane. I hope y'all stay safe. And everybody who has friends or family living in Florida that's about to get hit with this hurricane, please reach out to them. Make sure they're good. Make sure they're safe. Make sure they're good, basically. So yeah, until next time, I'm Stats with Evan, and I hope you have a 100% day. See y'all later.